and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio. Today is Monday. It is February 20th. I had to look at the calendar. I can't believe the year is going by so quickly. The year is 2023. We are streaming live right here on YouTube. Whether this is your first time visiting my channel or you are returning, I am thrilled that you're here. Welcome. I am really excited about tonight's card because it's a fun fold that's really easy. So I'm going to walk you through the steps, and the best part about this fun fold is it's a twist on an easel card, and it's called an easel tent card. It's going to stand up, and it's going to display all on its own. I think you're really going to enjoy the features. Now, a few things before we get started tonight. First and foremost, I want to make sure that you stick around to the end of the live stream, because down in the video description below, I am going to link for you to the project sheet. And the project sheet is, in essence, all the pictures, cutting dimensions, and the supplies for the cards I'm going to demonstrate tonight. So you have to worry about writing down all the dimensions. You're going to want to make sure you come back and download that. It is completely free. In addition to that, we love to chat with you here during the live stream, or perhaps you're watching the replay. Either way is fine. But in order to chat, YouTube requires that you log into your YouTube account, which uses a Gmail address. So please go ahead and do that. I come back and I read every single comment. And then finally, I want to introduce you to Gina Curcio Hawley. You'll see Gina's name here in blue off to the side, and you might recognize that surname. Gina is my daughter. She's the sales and marketing director here at Lisa's Stamp Studio and an avid stamper. She is here to help answer your questions and provide links for you because there's no way I can keep up while we're live streaming. All right, we're all set. Let's sit over the table and let's get started. All right, let me move those buttons out of the way. For some reason tonight, all my chat is completely gone. So Gina, I apologize for that. I can't see any of the live chat tonight. Let's start off with doing some scoring. Let me move that camera out just a little bit. I think we're a little bit too close. Super easy dimensions tonight. So this is balmy blue cardstock. It measures 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to do 2 simple score lines. Now, I love to use the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer because it includes both the scoring and the cutting blade. The cutting blade is the dark one. This is the light one. They navigate up and down out of the way. You can keep them on the track at the exact same time, which is why I absolutely love them. Clear cutting guide is fantastic, so you can see where you're going down that little track, and it's really great when you're doing diagonal lines. We're not going to do those tonight, but we've done quite a few of those here on my channel with the fun folds. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lift up that clear track, and the first score line is going to be at 4 1/4 inches, and then we are going to use that light blade and we are going to score. Thank you, Gina. I just saw your text message. She's helping me out versus text message. For some reason, no chat tonight. Next one is 8 1/2. I know you're all chatting with each other. That makes me really happy. All right, so we are all set. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put that off to the side, and you're gonna see the 2 score lines here. So there's one here at the top, and there's another one here at the bottom. The great thing I love about this easel card is you're gonna find that it's all one piece of paper. What I wanna do first is we're gonna work on the components for this so that we can put it all together. So let me go ahead and let's push that off to the side, and we're going to bring in some scrap white cardstock. So I've got that here, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping tonight. Now I'm going to introduce you to a stamp set that's fairly new to me. It is called a Petal Park. Now you're going to notice that these pieces look very similar to one another, and that's because they're meant to overlap. Now I'm going to use the florals tonight for this card, but keep in mind you can also use these to cluster, and really wonderful to use because it's a photopolymer stamp, which means that it's clear. So let's go ahead and let's start here with some stamping. Now I know this is going to seem kind of strange, but I'm actually going to use the Night of Navy ink to do the outline images of these flowers, and then I'm going to use a different color for the inside. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm coordinating with my designer series papers. So let's go ahead and let's use that Night of Navy ink. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring in some scratch paper here tonight. I want to make sure we don't get ink all over that work surface, and I love these small grid papers just for that reason. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that here, and I've mounted the large cluster of flower images. Now here is the beauty about the stamp set. There is a punch that's going to do all the work for you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink that up in the Night of Navy ink, and I'm going to stamp that here. Now you're probably wondering, well, if there's a punch for that, does it punch all of them? And the answer is yes. I'm going to show it to you. Here it is. It is called the Petal Park Builder Punch. And you're going to notice that it does all the petals and the leaves, which might be kind of confusing on how you're going to be able to use it. But I'll tell you one tip that I found that works really, really well. The first thing I did is I created a template. So I took a piece of scrap cardstock and I actually inserted it into the punch and I punched it out. And then I labeled where the top goes into the punch. The reason is when I'm stamping my flowers, I can make sure that they're going in the correct direction so that they're going to fit the punch. And I keep this right inside my stamp case, and I love that for those builder punches. All right, so we've got that here, and then we're going to need some additional flowers, but this time I'm only going to need the smaller ones. So I'm really going to concentrate here at the top. So I've got one here, and I've got another one here. I'll probably be able to fit those in. And I've got more scratch paper here. Let's ink that up as well and put those here and here. And you're going to notice I'm using these strips because that's going to allow me not to waste a whole bunch of paper. So let's go ahead and move those off to the side. I like to stamp off all that excess ink before I take it to my scrub to empty it and clean it. And then we've got leaves. Again, I know you're probably thinking blue leaves, but hang with me. See the template? That tells me which way my punch or my stamp needs to go to fit into the punch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp one here and I'm going to stamp another one here. And if we need more, I've got some more paper. All right, now we're going to switch over to a coordinating color for my card. And that is this. It is Petal Pink. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and we are going to come back here now to those solid flower images. We're going to fill these now with the coordinating solid stamp. Now, photopolymer is fantastic to use because it turns the color of the ink, which makes placement really simple. Now, I'm trying not to get my head in your camera view, and as you get older, you need to be a little bit closer, and you can see how they're going to line up. So I'm going to go ahead and ink and stamp, okay? I didn't push very hard there, but you get the idea. I've got a couple that are really good off camera because I was afraid I'd get my head in your view. I'm going to ink it up that small one now, and we're going to do the exact same thing. The great thing about this punch is you're going to notice that the flowers are separated. So if you want just one of them, you can navigate inking just that area. Now I went ahead and I did that for all my small flowers here. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean that stamp. And this time I'm going to stamp on the leaves. Now for this one, I chose a different color. So let's move over to Balmy Blue. Now this is the beauty of Stampin' Up! Products, is the color coordination. So the ink matches the paper, and that's exactly what we've got here because that was the color of our card base. So you'll see here I've got my leaves, and there's also a coordinating solid image for that. So I'm going to ink those up, and once again, those are going to get lined up right inside of here, and I just love the dimension that this stamp creates. Isn't that pretty? All right, so now that we've got our stamping done, I do want to do one more thing because I know my card is going to need a greeting. So I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock that I die cut before you joined me, but I want to share this with you because I absolutely love these dies. It's called Scallop Contours. You'll see that there's graduating sizes here of the scallops, which are beautiful. And then there's some floral images here that coordinate with the stamp set, and there's a beautiful scallop border die. These sizes work so well for your cards, even for your scrapbook pages. So I went ahead and I die cut one of those ahead of time. And this is where I'm going to put my greeting. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but in the Petal Park stamp set, there's no words. But there's a sister stamp set to this, and I want to share it with you. It is called, I'm pulling it out for you, it's called Sentimental Park. So you can buy these individually, or of course you can buy them, this one as a bundle. This has all the greeting and similar flowers, these fit the punch, that go with this stamp set. So you can buy them individually and mix and match. Now I've got another sample for you that uses this, so I'll share that with you in just a little bit. But for this card particularly, I decided to pull out a nice big greeting. And this is one of my favorites, Sunny Sentiments. I like it because they're whimsical, yet they fit just about every category of card I'm going to need. This time I mounted the one that has the greeting that says Thoughts of You, and I'm going to use the Night of Navy ink. I love that big word sunny. Now you're going to see this is a very large stamp. So I'm going to make sure that I travel really well to make sure the whole thing is inked. Now, lots of you ask me, how do you not get ink around the edges? Important, stamp straight up and down. And then I'm going to navigate this here towards the center. Again, trying to keep my head out of your camera view. We'll give that a nice push, and then we'll stamp out that greeting. Okay, so I'm just taking that off camera to clean that stamp. We'll close this up, and we are ready to put this card together. I know it's that simple. So let's take this and let's push this off to the side for just a minute, and let's bring back that punch. Do you recall the flowers that we created? All right, this is how the beautiful punch works with this. You're gonna go ahead and you're gonna slide these in, and then I want you to navigate the punch until it lines up. Now, I try really hard to align my stamps to the punch with that template we talked about, which makes it a lot easier. But here's a tip about the punches you may not know. If you squeeze lightly here at the bottom, it locks the paper in place, which makes sure that you've got that pretty white border all the way around, and then you can punch out your pieces. Okay, so that gives us our flowers. And then, of course, for the smaller ones, all I did was the same thing, and I punched those out. Now, let me show you how the leaves work. Now, you'll see that I punched them at the bottom because I wanted to make sure that I could get inside of here. So the same thing, I'm just navigating my strips of scrap cardstock. Now I'm going to go ahead and punch this out. Now I will tell you, if you are at home, this is just a scrap that I had here, use smaller strips. About a 1-inch strip is actually perfect. So if you cut yourself 1-inch strips, you can get all your leaves punched out. And I love punches because they are quick and they are easy. All right, like I said, I've got some pretty flowers here that I did ahead of time. So let me bring that one, and that one stamped a little bit better. And then I've got this one. And then we've got 3 of these smaller ones, and I've got a couple leaves here. So let's go ahead and push these other ones off to the side. And now let's work on assembling the card. You'll recall those score lines. So we've got one here and then one here. Let's go ahead and let's fold that larger section down in half. And I'm going to go over it with my bone folder. You want nice, crisp creases on a fun fold card. And this one's going to be no exception, and you'll see why in a few minutes. This is going to be the front of the card, and I chose some beautiful designer series paper tonight. And it's a very simple pattern because I didn't want to take away from the whole focal point, but I want to show you this package of paper. This is called Regency Park. I'm just going to move this off to the side and show you these really pretty patterns. There's different colors inside the package, but the great thing about Stampin' Up! Designer series paper, again, is the color coordination. These papers are also double-sided, which means you're going to have lots and lots of fun using them, not only in the floral theme, but check this out. How about for all kinds of things? Now, these can easily be used for masculine cards. And of course, you've got all different patterns here. It's a great package of paper. There's 48 sheets in the package, and it's called Regency Park. So here's the piece that I chose for this. I'm going to be using my silicone craft sheet. I'm going to place adhesive on what's going to be my wrong side tonight, and I'm using my Stampin' Seal Plus, so I'm just going to work a little bit around my edges. This adhesive is very, very strong, so I don't need to cover every inch of the paper. The silicone craft sheet is going to make sure that I keep my work surface clean, because I don't know about you, I get a little excited sometimes when I'm using liquid glue and adhesive, and it ends up all over my table, and then I'm fighting that sticky spot. All right, so here's this portion. Obviously, this would be the inside of the card. Now, this is just using a white piece of cardstock. Again, all the dimensions are going to be in your project sheet. I stamped one of those single flowers on here, just like I talked about. Because these are separated, I was very easy to put scratch paper underneath here and then navigate just one flower. Quick and simple. Let's go ahead and let's put this on the inside while we've got that front open. Again, my adhesive. And I'm working here near the top, leaving that perimeter all the way around. Now here at the bottom is where we're going to actually create the easel for the card. Let's go ahead and finish the front. Now you'll recall that I stamped that greeting, which is here, and this time I'm going to use dimensionals to elevate that. I love dimensionals. They make your cards look really, really professional. They're pre-cut pieces of foam tape, so you don't have to gunk up your scissors, which is great. And because this is a sizable panel, I'm going to put an extra one right here in the center. This is my Take Your Pick tool. I love that putty tip. It's going to help me pick up those small flowers and sequins. And it has interchangeable tips for this end. And this is the paper piercing tool attachment. I have arthritis really bad in my basal joints. So pulling small pieces of paper or any small dexterity thing can actually be very painful. So that helps me get those backings off. I'm going to work this near the top portion of that designer series paper, and we're going to tack that in place. Now, do you recall those flowers? So we've got some different sizes here. We had small, medium, and large. Let's go ahead and let's work with the large one first. So I'm going to flip this one upside down, and I'm going to go back to those dimensionals, and I'm going to place one of those right here in the middle. This flower, I kind of want anchored off to the side, kind of fill a little bit of that area here, and I'm tacking it down. Now I'm going to use one more on the medium-sized flower. And I'm going to place that in the center as well. Look at the notches that that punch creates on that flower. Isn't that pretty? And then this one I'm going to kind of put down here on an angle. So I'm going to create like a little small cluster here in the corner. That's going to bring your eye down for this fun fold card. Now you'll recall that I also created some of those leaves. So we've got a couple of those here. So we're going to go ahead and use those as well. Now you can use adhesive, you can use glue dots, but I got a little fancy and decided to use my mini dimensionals. And I love that these again are pre-cut so I don't have to gunk up my scissors. So I'm going to turn this upside down and I'm going to place one dimensional, whoops, nice and sticky. Let's take that again. Let's try that and put that here. I'm working near the top and there's a reason for that. And then I'm going to work on these others as well. So let's go ahead and put those mini dimensionals on the back. And then we can release those paper backings. That one's already coming off. Nice and simple for me. So I'll take that first one and I'm going to tuck it up here. You always want to make sure you're working within the perimeter of the card so it's going to get in and out of your envelope. And then my next one I'm going to stick down here. I'm going to kind of give this a little bit of a flare here at the end. And then this one, oh, we can go ahead and put this one here if you'd like. All right, looks good. The way this easel card is going to work is this piece now is going to have to come up. And this is going to get scored. Now watch carefully. The decorating is going to go here for this card. So what we're going to do is we're going to add designer series paper here. Oh, I just dropped it. This is from the exact same package, Regency Park. So pretty, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to actually open this up. I think I may have even told you wrong. I apologize for that. That is going to go here to create the easel. So I'm going to use that paper. This is going to be my wrong side tonight. And we are going to add adhesive to the back side. Okay, Gina's texting me because I can't see the live chat. Sunny Sentiments is retired? Good heavens, are you kidding me? How do I have a retired stamp set in my artillery? Oh no, I didn't think it was retired. It must have gotten missed. I apologize for that. The good news is there's lots of pretty things for you to choose from in that annual catalog as well as that mini catalog. Do you remember these extra flowers that we punched? We're going to do something here that's really kind of fun. I've got 2 pieces of cardstock here, just reminiscent of this paper. And I'm actually going to create these 2 together. So I'm going to go ahead and add some designer or some adhesive here. And I'm going to place that here in the center. Jean just texted me again because we've got no chat tonight and said, yeah, I don't know how you've got it in there, Mom. It's retired. Well, I apologize. But if you've been stamping for any amount of time, I know you have greetings to choose from. And of course, there's that coordinating Sentimental Park stamp set that has the beautiful greetings in it. Otherwise, had I known that, I would have used that for this one. All right, so again, front of the card, bottom of the card. This is going to go here near the bottom portion. So I'm gravitating towards the bottom. Next, we are going to add the flowers. Now, whether you choose to put these on with glue dots or dimensionals, that is entirely up to you. I know that my dimensionals are going to fit, and I'm going to do that because I want to elevate these a little bit further. I have 3 other cards to share with you. 2 of them are going to be inside the project sheet with this one I'm demonstrating. The other is just kind of bonus for tonight's live stream. Wait till you see the color coordinations from that pretty paper. I like to start in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place that one here. And then we're going to work on either side here and here. Now there's one other thing you're going to have to do to get this card to stand correctly. I want you to take this and I want you to take your fingernail and I want you to come over these creases because we've got to condition this cardstock. It's brand new. Let's add our bling to this because we've got to have some gems and then we'll show you how the easel works. This is the Glossy Dots assortment. Oh, so pretty, aren't they? And I saw these blue gems and I thought they're going to work famously for this project. So I'm going to use one of the larger ones here on the front. They've got glue dots already on the back. Isn't that pretty? It really plays up the colors. And another here. And you know what? I'm going to use more of these on these small ones because this is why we bought them, right? We bought them to use them, so we might as well add them to our card. I did go a step further, and if this is too fussy for you, you don't have to do it. But I had to put one here. So I'll take one more and I'll add it to the inside as well. Whoops. But I'll tell you what, everything is off here tonight. All right, let me show you how this tool works. All I did was dial this out. So I turned it and that removed this. Look at that little spatula. Now, if all my prayers work out, I'm going to be able to get up underneath here. And I'm just kind of wiggling that glue dot on the back. and that's going to allow me to release this. This also helps me to remove paper, cardstock pieces. Oh, that didn't work out. It's a Monday, my friends. It's a Monday. There we go. And I'm able to shimmy that over. I always say if it's less than perfect, my mom will take it. That makes her really, really happy. She likes anything that I do. All right, here we go. So this is going to come down and this is going to come forward, and this creates your easel. This is where these pieces have to be good and creased to condition your card so that it's going to stand. So there is your easel card. You're going to see how it creates the tent feature here on the side. This, in essence, is the stopper. So something needs to be there to hold the card to display it. Now, you might be wondering how it's going to fit in the envelope. And the way that I prefer is to fold this up and fold this down, and you get an adorable square card that fits in your regular A2 envelope. There's a little extra room on the side, but it mails beautifully. Really a fun, simple color palette. And obviously, this is a card for friendship, but you can give it for any occasion by changing up those sentiments. Now, let me share another one with you. This is actually the exact same project, and I just changed the colors of the designer series paper. So when I open this, you're going to see where I picked up those colors from. So here's the inside. Here is that Sentimental Park stamp set. I brought in this one. And I love these because these build on top of these phrases. Isn't that script pretty? So obviously, you can put words that build together. So thinking of you, for example. So that's what I used here on the inside. You are amazing. I used a trio of flowers here, and because of that punch, it made it super simple, which coordinates with that designer series paper. Same package. Now, the stopper here, I decided to keep simple. I only have one flower this time, and again, you can see here sideways that it's going to make that tinted easel once again. Now, here on the inside is where I put those coordinating flowers. Really pretty, really simple. So this is a quick card that you can make lots of really fast, but I've got a couple other cards for you. Now, this next one uses a bundle that has been widely popular. This is called Sweet Citrus. Now, it is the stamp set. There's a hybrid embossing folder, and there are coordinating dies. So yes, it's going to texture the fruit and then die cut them, which you're going to love. All right, so here is the card I made using that. Now, this is the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. Works beautifully with this. Isn't this sharp? And I wish you were here so you could feel this. But there's texture on the pulp of the fruit from the embossing folder. So I just added some more of those same gems from that same package, just one of the yellow colors. Did some heat embossing here, but check out the stopper on this card. So here's the inside, sending you a big squeeze. So the stopper on this one is actually one of the slices from the lemon. But I wish I could just get you a better shot than an aerial angle so that you can get a good look at this card. Isn't this fun? Really pretty, and it's going to display beautifully. You can also see that I added a small scrap of designer series paper here at the bottom of that inside square just to bring continuity to the card. All right, that's also in your project sheet with the blue one I demonstrated. Now, this last one uses a stamp set that's new to me. It's also in the new mini catalog, and it's called Silly Goose. And it is silly, but it's great for kids and kids at heart. And I love that there's birthday and, of course, other themes in here as well. Now, this card has a really fun spring summer feel to it. The designer series paper is from the Dandy Designs Designer Series paper stack. And guess what? That package of paper is free right now in Stampin' Up's celebration. This ends next week, February 28th. For every $50 you spend in product, you can choose something for free in this book. The Dandy Designs Designer Series paper and a stamp set are actually in the $100 level if your order's that big, but there's plenty of things here in the $50 level that you can choose. So remember, it's every $50 increment. So that's where that Designer Series paper came from. And did you notice here that my embellishments are mixed and matched different colors to coordinate with the Designer Series paper? We've got some labels, some very simple coloring with my Stampin' Blends alcohol-based markers. And on the inside, it says Goosebumps. Isn't that adorable? And then here you can see that I have part of the greeting here on the outside of the easel. You've got a friend in me. So I used that for my stopper on this card. And then, of course, the Goosebumps on the inside. So a great card for a friend. So we've got this one, this one. This one, of course, is your bonus because it's just a different color from the one I demonstrated for you tonight. I do apologize about that greeting stamp set. I don't know how that ended up still here in my studio. I feel really bad about that, and I feel terrible that I can't see your comments. The good news is that Gina is here. She's going to help me with the Q&A tonight. We do a live Q&A during the stream. Now, before you go, there's a couple things I want to make sure that you know about before you leave. Of course, we're going to talk about the next live stream date because Gina's going to be here with me. But I want to give you a quick reminder about this. Stamp Studio memberships. Your response to this has been overwhelming. Hundreds of you have signed up. It is $5 for the whole month. And every Monday to your inbox, you are going to get a tutorial from me. The photograph is not watermarked. The step-by-step instructions are there for you. You can duplicate and distribute this tutorial. So if you teach classes, whether perhaps it's an assisted living facility or perhaps with friends or family and you'd like to give them something printed out for them to file, to actually kind of follow, or perhaps you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. This is a fantastic tool for you. You've got full rights to distribute it and use it at your leisure. The best part is that these projects are not shared anywhere else. I designed them exclusively for this membership program. And it doesn't matter where you live. You can use these worldwide. You can find all the information on Stamp Studio memberships over on my website on the red menu bar under memberships. Would absolutely love to have you there. There's a whole Q&A there for you too near the bottom. All right, the next live stream date, I want to make sure you're well aware of this. Gina is going to be with me here next Monday, which is February 27th. We'll be live right here on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Before you go, I'd have a couple favors I'd like to ask of you. Would you please hit that thumbs up button here on YouTube? It is a huge help for me here. Additionally, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon and the word all. Then YouTube is going to send you reminders of when I'm going to live stream. Head over to my website, scroll all the way to the bottom, and click on the word subscribe there as well, because I'll send you a free weekly e-newsletter that includes a project tutorial not shared on my other platforms. We would love to include you. Now, the Q&A time is coming up, so if you have a question, I'm going to spotlight your question live. Oh, I typically do that, but since I don't have the chat, I can't spotlight your question on the screen tonight, but I can answer your question live. So this is what you need to do. Start typing in your question now. It's going to be easier for Gina to filter those if you put in the letter Q for question and a colon, and then type your question behind it. And then she's going to text those questions to me, and I'm going to answer some of those live right here now. If you need to leave, I'm so glad that you are here tonight. Thanks for joining us, and I look forward to having you join Gina and I on Monday. All right, this is the informal part. Let me push this out of the way and reach for my iPhone so I can get your questions. Geez. Okay, Gina said, tell them to @ her name. Okay, so if you have a question tonight, if you use that and sign, the and sign like you would in your email address, and put Gina's name, it'll help her also filter. She can't filter. She needs her name in it. All right, so what you're going to need to do to ask a question is put that @ sign and then type Gina's name. It'll pop up, and then type your question right behind it. And then she's able then to pick up your question because it's going to be highlighted with her name on it. Now, there is a delay between when I speak and when you hear it, and when you hear me and when I'm able to get your question. So there's going to be a short delay here. Now, okay, there's a question here from P. Steelman. Sorry, I can't put it up on the screen tonight. We'll get that taken care of for next week. Her question is, what was the name of the retired sentiment stamp again? Off to my stash. My embarrassing moment, Miss Steelman, and you're really happy about that. It's called Sunny Sentiments. Here it is. Isn't this cute? It was really great. Stampin' Up! Has a beautiful array of greeting stamp sets, and there's some that even have these large fonts. Look through the annual catalog and the mini catalog. If you're brand new, you can actually view those catalogs in a full color PDF format right on my website. All right, next question is from Diana Evans. The question is, does this card need to have added postage due to the gems? That's an excellent question. So let me show it to you this way. The answer is no. I weighed this one. It's under an ounce. Please keep in mind, if you're adding lots and lots of layers and more embellishments or mixed media, then yes, it's going to need more postage. So the tip is it has to be 1 ounce or less to go for regular postage. But this one was no trouble at all whatsoever. That's a great question. Diane, okay, see, I missed one. Sorry. Debbie Rhodes, which way does the embossing folder go in the machine? Open end or closed end? Oh my gosh, Debbie, I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the most controversial questions that paper crafters get. It's kind of like, is it tomato or tomato? Potato or potato? Okay. Manufacturers usually recommend the closed end of the embossing folder. But if I'm going to be very transparent with you and tell you that I alternate, and here is why. If you use one embossing folder to maybe emboss 100 layers for a card, you're going to notice that it starts to have a little bit of a bow to it. And that's because of the compression of the rollers in the machine. So it helped to kind of change that. I changed the direction of the folder as I'm doing that many embossings. So it kind of just straighten things out. So I'll put it mostly in on the closed end and sometimes on the other end. Sometimes I flip it upside down because I want to keep that folder as straight as I can. But I hope that answers your question. All right, I'm scrolling. Diane Stickney, where will we find the new online products? So Jean and I will be talking about that next week. But on March 1st, there is great news coming your way. Stampin' Up! Is releasing a whole new category in the online store called Online Exclusives. And they are going to be releasing products a lot more frequently because we don't have to wait for them to come into publication. This is great news for us. There are brand new products coming your way on March 1st. One of them is the Hello Irresistible Suite. There's also a trio of embossing folders that are basics that you're going to love. There's all kinds of beautiful specialty paper and gems. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you head over to my online store on March 1st is when that's going to be released. And there'll be a new category for online exclusives. Those will be on March 1st. Thank you, Diane. Dawn McDaniel, do you need to explain how to set up the easel card? I make a lot for Elderly in Wonder. This is another question that I get asked an awful lot, Dawn, is how will the recipient know how this card is supposed to be displayed? There's a couple things that you can do. You can include a Post-it note, or better yet, here's my favorite part. If you think it's really kind of challenging for them to figure out, send them a text photograph of the card when it's open and displayed. So for the one today, it would kind of look like this. So they obviously would know this is the easel. But I will tell you, 90% of the time when I send a card and it's a fun fold, and you know I make a lot of them, they intuitively figure it out after like a minute. Even my husband has no trouble. But always a Post-it note with a little bit of instruction or a photograph by text or by email will also help them. I hope that answers that question. I can do two more. Diane File says, how do you store your leftover scrap paper pieces? Okay. Do you see those white boxes right behind me? Okay. My scraps are inside there in accordion file folders, and I have one for every color. Here on my YouTube channel, if you type in the search bar, New Craft Room Tour, there's an entire tour of this room, and I show you how I organize everything. But that's the short of the answer for you. Esther McCullough, I hate to pronounce the last names wrong, but Esther's question is, Lisa, do you dream designs for cards? Do you even sleep? I do sleep. Actually, I love to sleep. I'm like one of those girls that needs at least 8 hours every night. 9, I'm even better. I do dream cards. Isn't that crazy? I love, love, love what I do. So yes, I will see inspiration everywhere I go. Sometimes it's a plant with different colored variegated flowers. Sometimes it's when I'm shopping and seeing the patterns on a blouse or in fabrics. Everything inspires me. So do I dream up designs? Yeah, sometimes. But I often use the designer series paper as the starting point when I'm making my cards. And of course, I always determine the fun fold first. And yes, I make a template from scratch paper for my fun folds before I actually make them with really nice cardstock so I don't waste it because I make a lot of mistakes along the way, promise. All right, this is the last question for tonight. I don't have a name, but it looks like maybe part of your name is Deb. It says, when will you be releasing your retired items sale on your website? She's asking about my grab bags, and they are all done, ready to go. Marion and Rod brought them to me about a week ago. Those are probably going to come out March 1st. You'll be able to find those on my website. There'll be a category under shop. It is not there yet, but we'll say grab bag retired products there. You'll be able to shop at that time. All right, that's it for tonight. Thank you for your patience because I couldn't see the live chat here. So grateful that we had Gina interceding with text message. I look forward to having you share Gina and I together next week on Monday, which of course is the 28th. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.